Captain Lee Dong-woo stood in the cold metal room of the EU's Harmony. The ship moved through space toward a planet that held only death and fear. Around him, the walls showed moving pictures of a creature that made grown soldiers shake with terror. The beast was huge, 3 meters tall, with thick armor covering its body like the shell of a giant insect. Its arms ended in claws sharp enough to cut through steel. The intelligence reports called it a Vorthok battle beast. They said it was the most dangerous weapon the alien enemies had ever made. Dong-woo had seen many monsters in his 20 years as a space captain. He had fought pirates in the asteroid belts. He had led missions against rebel colonies. This thing was different. This thing killed for pleasure. Lieutenant Park Ji-min stood beside him. She was young but smart. Her hands moved over the control panel as she brought up more data about the creature. Her face was pale as she read the numbers. "Sir, look at these readings," she said. Her voice was quiet but steady. "This thing has destroyed 17 of our settlements in just 3 weeks. 17 whole colonies. It is more than 50,000 people." The hologram showed pictures of the destroyed settlements. Buildings torn apart like toys, streets covered in rubble, empty homes where families once lived and laughed. The creature had moved from colony to colony like a storm of death. Admiral Kim Sora appeared on the main screen. She was calling from Earth Command, millions of miles away. Her gray hair was pulled back tight. Her eyes looked tired from too many sleepless nights. "Captain Lee," the admiral said, "your mission is simple but deadly. You must take Specialist Choi Min-ho to the planet surface. He has volunteered for this job even though we all know he will probably die." Dong-woo looked at the young man standing near the back of the room. Min-ho was only 25 years old. He had kind eyes and a gentle smile that seemed wrong for such a terrible mission. Most soldiers who volunteered for suicide missions looked angry or crazy. Min-ho just looked sad. "The specialist will carry a quantum disruptor," the admiral continued. "This weapon can destroy the creature, but he must get very close to use it. We think there is a 98% chance that Min-ho will die. But if we can kill this beast and study its body, we might save millions of human lives." Min-ho stepped forward. His voice was calm when he spoke. "I understand the risks, Admiral. My family lived on New Busan Colony. They were some of the first people this creature killed. My parents, my sister Nayun, my little brother, all gone because of this monster." The room became very quiet. Everyone knew about New Busan Colony. It had been a peaceful place where scientists studied alien plants and tried to find ways for humans and aliens to live together. The creature had destroyed it in one night. No survivors, not even bodies to bury. "Someone has to stop this killing," Min-ho said. "If that someone is me, then so be it. Maybe my death will mean something if it saves other families." Dr. Yoon Hae-won spoke from her station near the ship computer. She was the chief science officer and had worked with Min-ho before. "The quantum disruptor is our most powerful portable weapon, but it only works at close range. Very close range. Min-ho will need to be within 10 meters of the creature. 10 meters. Close enough to see the monster's eyes. Close enough to smell its breath. Close enough to watch it kill him before the weapon could fire." "Why not just bomb the planet from space?" asked Lieutenant Park. "We could destroy the whole area where the creature is hiding." Admiral Kim shook her head. "We tried that on Kepler 438c. The creature survived a nuclear blast that turned half the continent to glass. We need to understand how it is so strong. We need to study its body to find its weaknesses." The ship's computer made a soft sound. They were getting close to Kepler 442b through the big window. Dong-woo could see the planet growing larger. It looked beautiful from space. Blue oceans and green land masses, white clouds moving slowly across the surface. It was hard to believe such a lovely world held such horror. "Captain," said pilot, "Major Song Tae-hoon, from the flight deck. We'll reach orbit in 2 hours. The dropship is ready for launch. I have programmed the safest route to the surface, but the creature has been moving around. Cannot be sure where it will be when we arrive." Min-ho checked his equipment one more time. The quantum disruptor looked like a normal field kit. No one would know it contained enough power to level a city block. He also carried food, water, and basic survival gear. And tucked in his breast pocket was a small photo of his sister Nayun. At her college graduation, she had studied to become a xenobiologist. She wanted to help humans and aliens understand each other better. She believed that most conflicts came from fear and misunderstanding. She always said that if people just talked to each other, they could solve almost any problem. "I wish you were here, Nayun," Minho whispered to the photo. "You would know what to do." The briefing room's lights dimmed as they entered the planet's shadow. Below them, the night side of Kepler-4 for to be was dotted with the lights of human settlements. But there were dark patches too. Places where cities used to shine, but now showed only empty blackness. "Thermal scans show the creature is currently in grid section 7, reported Lieutenant Park. That puts it about 50 kilometers from New Busan Colony, or what is left of New Busan Colony." Dongwu felt his stomach tighten. He had sent many soldiers on dangerous missions. But this felt different. This felt like murder he was sending. A good young man to die just to satisfy the curiosity of Earth's command. "Minho," he said quietly, "you do not have to do this. You can find another way." Minho smiled. It was a real smile, not forced or fake. "Captain, my sister always told me that sometimes you have to do scary things to protect the people you love. I cannot bring back my family, but maybe I can save someone else's family." The ship's alarm sounded. It had reached orbit. Soon, it would be time for Minho to leave the safety of the ship and face the monster that had killed his whole world. Outside the window, Kepler-4 to be turned slowly in the starlight. Beautiful and deadly, waiting for one more human to join the thousands who had already died on its surface. The dropship shook like a toy in the hands of an angry child. Minho gripped his seat as the small craft cut through the thick atmosphere of Kepler-4 for to be around him. The metal walls groaned and creaked under the pressure. Warning lights flashed red and yellow in the dim cabin. Major Song Taehan sat at the pilot controls. His hands moved quickly over the buttons and switches. Sweat ran down his face even though the cabin was cold. Through the front window, Minho could see pieces of broken space stations floating in the darkness. The creature had destroyed them too. "This is not good," Taehan said through gritted teeth. "The debris field is thicker than our scans showed. Some of these chunks are big enough to punch a hole right through our hull." A piece of twisted metal scraped along the side of the dropship. The sound was like fingernails on glass. Minho closed his eyes and thought about his sister Nayun. She had always been afraid of flying. Even short trips in peaceful skies made her nervous. What would she think of this ride through a graveyard of destroyed ships? The ship lurched to one side. Taehan cursed under his breath as he fought to keep them on course. Below them, the planet's surface was getting closer. Minho could see the scars where the creature had walked. Long lines of destruction that stretched for kilometers. Forests burned to ash. Rivers turned to mud. Mountains split open like broken eggs. "Look at that," Taehan whispered. "It is like the whole planet is sick." Minho pressed his face against the small window. He could see what had once been New Seoul Colony. City had housed nearly 1 million people. Now it was just piles of broken concrete and twisted steel. The creature's footprints were still visible in the earth. Each print was as big as a building. How can something be so big? How can something so big move so fast? The scientists think it can change its size somehow, Taehan replied. When it needs to be small, it shrinks. When it wants to destroy something big, it grows. It's like some kind of nightmare that can become whatever it needs to be. They passed over New Busan Colony next. Minho's home is the place where he had grown up, where he had learned to read in the public library, where he had played soccer with his brother in the park, where his sister had met her boyfriend and planned to get married after she finished school. All gone, all of it gone. But something was strange. As Minho looked closer, he could see that some buildings were still standing. The hospital where his mother had worked was damaged but not destroyed. The school where his father had taught was missing its roof, but the walls were still there. The small temple where his family had prayed on special days looked almost untouched. Ion, Minho said slowly. Look at New Busan. Some of the buildings are still there. The pilot leaned forward to look. His eyes widened. That is weird. The intelligence report said the creature destroyed everything, but you are right. Some places look almost normal. They flew lower. Minho could see more details now. The creature had torn apart the government buildings and the police stations. It had smashed the military base to pieces. But the hospital, the schools, the temples, the parks, these were mostly whole. Maybe it ran out of time, Taehyun suggested. Maybe. Our ships arrived and scared it away before it could finish. Minho shook his head. No. Look at the pattern. It destroyed all the places where authority comes from. But it left the places where people help each other. That does not make sense for a mindless beast. The dropship's computer started beeping. They were close to the landing zone. Taehyun's hands moved over the controls as he looked for a safe place to set down. The thermal scanners showed the creature was about 2 kilometers north of their position. It was not moving. Why is it just sitting there? Minho wondered out loud. Maybe it is sleeping, Taehyun said. These scans show it has been in the same spot for 6 hours. Before that, it was moving around the ruins like it was looking for something. The dropship touched down in what had been the central plaza of New Busan Colony, Minho remembered. This place. Every year during the Harmony Festival, thousands of people would gather here to celebrate peace between humans and aliens. There would be music and dancing and food from a dozen different worlds. Children would run between the booths while their parents talked and laughed. Now it was just empty ground covered with broken stone and dead plants. Minho checked his equipment one last time. The quantum disruptor sat heavy in his backpack. It looked like a normal science kit, but it contained enough power to kill the creature. At least that was what the scientists hoped. They had never tested it on anything like the Vorthok battle beast. His survival gear was standard. Food bars that tasted like cardboard, water purification tablets, a basic medical kit, a sleeping bag that was supposed to keep him warm in temperatures. Down to minus 30 degrees, emergency flares that would call for pickup if he somehow survived. In his breast pocket, the photo of Na-Yoon seemed to weigh nothing at all. I will wait here for your signal, Taehyun said. Hey, if you can activate. The disruptor, the flash, will show up on my sensors. I will come get you right away. Minho nodded. They both knew this was a lie. If Minho got close enough to use the disruptor, he would be close enough to die when it went off. The weapon would destroy everything within 50 meters. There would be nothing left to pick up. The door of the dropship opened with a soft hiss. The air that came in smelled of smoke and death and something else. Something alien that made Minho's nose wrinkle and his eyes water. He stepped out onto the surface of his homeworld. His boots crunched on broken glass and chunks of concrete. The silence was complete. No birds singing, no insects buzzing. No wind in the trees because there were no trees left to move. Minho started walking north toward the creature. Each step took him closer to the thing that had killed his family. Each step took him closer to his own death.
Out.
But each step also took him closer to revenge for the thousands of people who had died on this world. The thermal scanner on his belt showed the creature was still not moving. It was big, bigger than the intelligence reports had said. The heat signature was massive and strange. It did not look like any living thing Minho had ever seen as he walked through the ruins of his childhood home. Minho tried not to look too closely at the details. He did not want to see the places where specific people had died. He did not want to recognize the broken pieces of his old life scattered among the rubble. But he could not help himself. There was the fountain where he had thrown coins and made wishes as a little boy. There was the statue of the first human ambassador to make peace with an alien race. There was the bench where his parents had sat and watched him play. All broken, all empty, all silent. The creature was close now, very close. Minho could feel something in the air. A presence that made his skin crawl and his heart beat faster. Whatever this thing was, it was not natural. It was wrong in ways that went deeper than just being dangerous. But he kept walking. For Na-Yoon, for his parents, for his little brother. for all the people who would never go home again. He kept walking toward the monster. Minho crept forward through the broken remains of the new Busan Research Center. His heart pounded so hard he was sure the creature would hear it. The thermal scanner on his belt showed the massive heat signature just ahead. It was huge. Bigger than anything he had imagined. He pressed himself against a chunk of fallen wall and slowly looked around the corner. What he saw made his breath catch in his throat. The creature stood in the middle of what had been the main laboratory. It was even more terrifying in person than in the holograms. 3 meters tall, with thick black armor covering its body. 6 arms that ended in claws, sharp enough to cut through steel. Its head was large and alien, with too many eyes arranged in patterns that hurt to look at. But it was not destroying anything. The creature held something small and delicate in its massive claws. Einho squinted through his suit's enhanced vision. System. It was a piece of paper, a child's drawing of stick figures holding hands under a yellow sun. The drawing showed humans and aliens together, smiling and happy. The creature was looking at the drawing very carefully. Its huge head tilted to one side like it was trying to understand what it meant. One of its claws traced the outline of the figures so gently that the paper did not even wrinkle. Minho felt confused. This was not what he expected. The intelligence. Reports said the creature was a mindless killing machine. They said it destroyed everything it touched. But here it was, handling a child's artwork like it was made of the most precious material in the universe. The creature set the drawing down carefully on a table that was somehow still standing. Then it picked up something else. A photograph of a human family. A mother, father, and 2 children standing in front of their house. Everyone was smiling and laughing at something outside the picture. The creature stared at the photograph for a long time. Its many eyes focused on the faces of the people. Its claws held the picture so gently that Minho could barely believe this was the same beast that had destroyed 17 colonies. Then something impossible happened. The creature made a sound. It was not a roar or a growl or any kind of angry noise. It was soft and low and filled with something that sounded almost like sadness. The creature was looking at the happy family in the photograph and making sounds that reminded Minho of crying. Minho's hand moved to the quantum disruptor on his belt. This was his chance. The creature was distracted. He could activate the weapon and complete his mission. He could get revenge for his family and save millions of human lives, but something stopped him. Something about the way the creature held the photograph, something about the gentle sounds it was making, something about how carefully it had placed the child's drawing on the table. The creature moved to another part of the laboratory. Minho followed quietly, staying hidden behind the rubble. He watched as the beast examined more human belongings. Books about alien culture. Research notes about peaceful contact between species. A coffee mug with the words, "Galaxy's Best Dad," printed on the side. Each item seemed to fascinate the creature. It would pick things up and study them from every angle. It would hold them up to different eyes, as if trying to see them better. And always, it was so careful not to damage anything. Minho found himself thinking about his sister Nayun. She had worked in this very laboratory. She had written some of these research notes. Her coffee mug was probably somewhere in this room. Maybe the creature had already found it and wondered about the person who had used it. Every morning, the creature moved to a computer terminal that was somehow still working. The screen showed a video message that had been playing on repeat since the evacuation. It was Dr. Lim Yujin, the head of the research center. She was speaking to anyone who might find the message. "If you are watching this, then our evacuation has failed and something terrible has happened to New Busan Colony," Dr. Lim said on the screen. "I want you to know that we came here in peace. We came here to learn about the universe and to make friends with other species. We believed that all intelligent life could work together to make something beautiful." The creature watched the video with complete attention. Its massive head moved closer to the screen. All 6 of its eyes focused on Dr. Lim's face as she spoke. "Studied your cultures and your languages," Dr. Lim continued. "We learned about your art and your music and your ways of seeing the world. We hoped that someday you would want to learn about us too. We hoped that fear would not stop us from becoming friends. The video ended and started playing again from the beginning. The creature watched it a second time, then a third time. Each time it seemed to pay attention to different parts of Dr. Lim's message. Minho realized something that made his blood run cold. The creature was not just looking at human belongings. It was trying to understand them. It was studying human culture the same way human scientists studied alien cultures. It was trying to learn about people. But why would a weapon designed to kill humans want to understand them? The creature turned away from the computer and picked up another item. This time, it was a journal written by Dr. Park Soo-young, one of Nayun's teachers. The journal was open to a page about communication between different species. The greatest challenge in interspecies contact, the journal entry read, is not language or technology. It is fear. We fear what we do not understand. Attack what seems different from us. But if we can find the courage to look past the surface, we often discover that we have more in common than we thought. The creature's claws moved across the words as if it was reading them. Could it understand human writing? Did it know what Dr. Park was trying to say? Minho watched as the creature carefully closed the journal and placed it with the other items. It had been examining. Everything was arranged neatly on the table, like a display in a museum. Like the creature was trying to preserve these pieces of human culture. A terrible thought entered Minho's mind. What if the creature had not destroyed the colonies on purpose? What if something else had happened? What if the intelligence reports were wrong? The creature suddenly stopped moving. Its head turned toward Minho's hiding place. All 6 eyes focused on the spot where he was crouched behind the rubble. Minho's heart stopped beating. The creature had found him. For a moment that seemed to last forever, they stared at each other. It's the massive alien being and the small human with a weapon that could destroy them both. Neither moved. Neither made a sound. Then the creature did something that changed everything Minho thought he knew about monsters and enemies and the nature of evil in the universe. It slowly sank down until it was sitting on the floor. Its huge body folded in on itself until it looked smaller and less threatening, and then it made that soft, sad sound again. The sound that was unmistakably the cry of a creature in pain. The creature was not preparing to attack. It was not getting ready to kill. It was showing Minho that it was not a threat. It was asking him not to be afraid. Minho's finger hovered over the activation switch of the quantum disruptor. One press, and this would all be over. One press, and he would have his revenge. But as he looked into the creature's alien eyes, he saw something that stopped him cold. He saw intelligence. He saw sadness. He saw loneliness. He saw something that looked almost like hope. Minho slowly stood up from behind the rubble. His legs shook as he stepped into the open space where the creature could see him clearly. The quantum disruptor felt heavy on his belt. His finger was still near the activation switch, but something inside him said this was wrong. The creature watched him with all 6 of its alien eyes. It did not move to attack. It did not raise its deadly claws. Instead, it made that soft crying sound again. The sound was so full of sadness that Minho felt his own eyes fill with tears. "You are not what they said you were," Minho whispered. His voice shook with fear and confusion. "You are not a monster at all." The creature's head tilted to one side. It seemed to be listening to his words. Then something amazing happened. The universal translator device on Minho's belt began to work. The device had been built by Dr. Han Sung-woo before he died in the attacks. It was designed to translate any alien language into human speech. Static filled the air. Then broken words began to form. "Sorry, so sorry, ... did not mean." To be careful, Minho's heart nearly stopped. The creature was talking to him. It was apologizing. "You can understand me?" Minho asked. More static than clearer words. "Understand ... yes ... learned from your books, your videos, your beautiful words about peace." The creature gestured toward the items it had arranged on the table. The child's drawings, the family photograph, the research journals. All the pieces of human culture it had been studying so carefully. "I came to learn," the creature continued. Its voice was strange and alien, but Minho could hear the emotion in it. I heard your messages to the stars. It's messages about friendship, about working together. I wanted to meet you. Minho felt like the world was spinning around him. Everything he had been told was wrong. This creature had not come to destroy humanity. It had come to make friends. But the colonies, Minho said. You destroyed 17 colonies. You killed thousands of people. You killed my family. The creature's crying sound grew louder. Its massive body shuddered with what looked like grief. Accident, it said. Terrible accident. I am too big, too heavy. When I walk, the ground shakes. When I move, buildings fall down. I tried to be careful, but I could not control my size. Images began to fill Minho's mind. They came directly from the creature through some kind of mental connection. He saw the creature arriving at the first human colony. He saw it trying to make itself smaller as it approached the buildings. He saw its joy when it found the welcome messages humans had broadcast into space. But he also saw the disaster that followed. The creature's footsteps caused earthquakes. Its breath was so hot it melted metal. Its alien body chemistry poisoned the air around it. Everywhere it went, destruction followed. I tried to leave, the creature said, but your people shot at me. They were afraid. They thought I was attacking. So I had to defend myself. At every time I moved, more people died. Minho saw more images. Human soldiers firing weapons at the creature trying to shield itself without hurting anyone. Buildings collapsing as the creature moved away from the attacks. People running and screaming in terror. I never wanted to hurt anyone, the creature continued. I only wanted to understand, to learn about your kind ways, your courage, your ability to love each other even when you are so different. The mental images changed. Now Minho saw the creature alone in the ruins, carefully collecting human belongings, studying them, trying to understand what kind of people could create such beautiful art and write such hopeful words about peace. I found your sister's work, the creature said gently. Nayun. She wrote about building bridges between species, about finding ways to communicate across the vast differences that separate us. Her words gave me hope that maybe you could forgive. Minho's knees gave out. He sat down hard on a piece of broken concrete. The creature knew about Nayun. It had read her research. It understood what she had been trying to do. She wanted to help species like yours, Minho said. She believed that fear was the only thing that kept us from being friends. She was wise, the creature replied. Wiser than I was. I should have found a way to communicate before I came so close. I should have known that my presence would cause harm. Minho looked at the quantum disruptor on his belt. One press of the button would kill this creature that had accidentally destroyed his world. It would give him the revenge he had thought he wanted. But revenge would not bring back Nayun. It would not undo the accidents that had destroyed the colonies. It would only add more death to a universe that already had too much pain. What is your name? Minho asked. I'm called Valtharian, the creature replied. It means seeker of understanding in my language. I have traveled the galaxy for many of your lifetimes, studying young species from a distance. You were the first to send messages that made me want to come closer. My name is Minho, he said. I came here to kill you. Valtharian nodded sadly. I know. I can sense the weapon you carry is powerful enough to destroy me. Perhaps that would be for the best. I have caused too much pain, too much death. Minho stood up slowly. He walked closer to the creature. Valtharian did not move. Away? It watched him approach with those alien eyes that somehow looked full of hope and fear at the same time. My sister believed that understanding was always possible, Minho said. Even between species that seemed completely different. Even when there had been terrible mistakes. He reached out and touched one of Valtharian's great claws. The alien skin was warm and surprisingly soft. The creature made a sound like a sigh of relief. I do not want more death, Minho said. I want to find a way to fix this. For the first time since the disasters began, Valtharian's alien features arranged themselves into something that might have been a smile. Your sister would be proud of you, the creature said. You have her courage, her wisdom, her beautiful hope for a better universe. Minho felt tears running down his face. But for the first time in weeks, they were not tears of grief. They were tears of something else, something that felt almost like joy. Maybe Nayun's dream of peace between species was not dead after all. Minho and Veltharion sat together in the ruins of the research laboratory. The alien creature had made itself as small as possible, but it was still huge compared to the human. They had been talking for hours through the universal translator, sharing stories and trying to understand each other. Veltharion told Minho about its people, the Wanderers. They were an ancient race that had given up having a home planet long ago. Instead, they traveled through space in great ships, studying the younger species they found among the stars. We learned long ago that direct contact often causes problems, Veltharion explained. Young species are usually afraid of things they do not understand, so we watch from far away. We learn about cultures and languages without interfering. But you came here, Minho said. You broke your own rules. Veltharion's alien features showed something like embarrassment. Your species was different. Your messages to the stars spoke of hope and friendship. You talked about working together with aliens. You seemed ready for contact. Minho thought about the peace broadcasts Earth had been sending into space for decades. Messages of welcome to any alien species that might be listening. Invitations to make friends and share knowledge. We meant those messages, Minho said. But we also sent them because we thought any aliens who found us would be small like us. We never imagined something as big as you. That was my mistake, Veltharion replied sadly. I should have found a way to communicate before coming to your worlds. I should have warned you about my size, about the damage I might cause by accident. Creature showed Minho more mental images. He saw Veltharion's home ship floating in the darkness between stars. It was beautiful and strange, built for beings much larger than humans. He saw other wanderers, all huge and alien, but somehow peaceful looking. My people are angry with me, Veltharion said. Broke our most important law. I made contact before I was sure it was safe. Now thousands of your people are dead because of my foolishness. Minho felt a strange sadness for this creature that had destroyed his world by accident. The Veltharion was clearly intelligent and kind. It had only wanted to make friends. But its good intentions had led to disaster. What will happen now? It asked. My people are coming, Veltharion replied. They will take me home and punish me for what I have done. They will make sure I never have the chance to hurt anyone again. And your people will probably hunt down any wanderer they can find. Minho realized that Veltharion was right. When Earth Command learned the truth about what had happened, they would not see a tragic accident. They would see an alien invasion. That needed to be stopped. The war between humans and wanderers would probably last for centuries, unless someone found a better way. Minho did the quantum disruptor on his belt. He'd been sent here to kill Veltharion and study its body. But what if there was another choice? What if instead of starting a war, this could be the beginning of peace? Veltharion Minho said slowly, what if you did not have to go back to your people? What if you stayed here and helped us understand each other? The creature's eyes widened. Stay here, but I am too dangerous. Every step I take causes earthquakes. Every breath I breathe changes your atmosphere. Cannot live on your worlds without causing harm. Then we will find worlds where you can live safely, Minho said. The idea was growing in his mind like a flower opening to sunlight. Empty planets where you can be yourself without hurting anyone. And we will build communication systems so our species can talk to each other. Veltharion was quiet for a long time. Minho could sense the creature thinking through all the possibilities. All the ways this could go wrong. All the reasons why it might not work. Your leaders will never agree, Veltharion finally said. They think I am a monster. They sent you here to kill me. Minho stood up and walked over to the quantum disruptor. He picked it up and held it in his hands. The weapon was small and light, but it contained enough power to destroy everything within 50 meters. They sent me here because they were afraid, Minho said. Because they did not understand what you really are. But I understand now, and I can help them understand too. Looked at the device in his hands. This weapon represented everything that was wrong with how species treated each other. Fear, violence, the assumption that anything different must be dangerous. Minho made his choice. He set the quantum disruptor on the ground and stepped away from it. "I will not kill you," he said. "I will not start a war that will hurt both our peoples. Instead, I will try to build the bridge that my sister dreamed of." Veltharion made a sound that the translator could not convert into words. But Minho did not need a translation to understand. It was the sound of hope, of gratitude, of wonder that a human could choose trust over fear. "Your sister was right," Veltharion said. "Its understanding is always possible, even after terrible mistakes. Even when everything seems lost." Minho activated his communication device. Captain Li Dongwu answered immediately. "Minho, report." "Have you completed the mission?" Captain Minho said carefully. "I need to talk to you. The situation here is not what we thought. The creature is not our enemy." There was a long pause. Then Captain Li's voice came back, full of concern. "Minho, are you hurt? Are you being forced to say this?" "No, Captain. I am fine." "Learned things that will change everything. The creature, its name is Veltharion. It never meant to hurt anyone. The destruction was an accident." Another pause. Minho could imagine the confusion on the bridge of the UES Harmony. "Well, it is impossible," Captain Li said. "The intelligence reports clearly show deliberate attacks." "The intelligence reports are wrong," Minho replied. "I am sending you video recordings of my conversation with Veltharion. You need to see this. Admiral Kim needs to see this. Everyone needs to understand what really happened." Minho uploaded the recordings from his suit's cameras, hours of footage showing Veltharion carefully handling human belongings. The creature's obvious grief over the accidents it had caused, its desperate desire to make amends. Captain Minho continued, "I am requesting that you delay any military action until Earth Command can review this evidence. We have a chance here to turn a tragedy into something better. We have a chance to make first contact the right way." Veltharion watched Minho. "With something like amazement, would risk your career for me? Risk your life to protect someone who destroyed your world?" Minho smiled. "My sister taught me that sometimes the most important thing you can do is choose hope over fear. Choose understanding over anger. Choose to build bridges instead of walls." He looked at the quantum disruptor lying abandoned on the ground. "Besides," he added, "what kind of universe would we create if we always chose violence when we had the chance to choose peace?" Veltharion slowly reached out one of its great claws toward Minho. The human did not flinch or step away. Instead, he reached out his own hand to meet the alien touch. When their hands met, Minho felt something he had not expected. He felt hope for the future. Hope that maybe, just maybe, his sister's dream of peace between species could still come true. The communication device crackled with voices from the EU's Harmony. Captain Li Dongwu was arguing with Admiral Kim Sora while Lieutenant Park Jimin tried to make sense of the video recordings Minho had sent. "This has to be some kind of trick," Admiral Kim's voice said through the static. "Gosh, the creature is manipulating Specialist Choi, somehow. Yeah. No alien would really care about human art and culture." "Admiral, with respect, you need to see these recordings yourself," Captain Li replied. "The creature's behavior does not match any of our intelligence reports. It seems genuinely upset about the deaths it caused." Minho listened to the argument. While sitting next to Veltharion in the ruins of the laboratory, the alien creature had not moved for hours. It seemed to be waiting to see what the humans would decide about its fate. "They do not trust Isley," Minho said to Veltharion. "Humans have been hurt by aliens before. Pirates and raiders who came to steal from us. It will take time for them to believe that you are different." "I understand their fear," Veltharion replied through the translator. "If one of my people had been hurt by a human, I might feel the same way. Fear makes all species do foolish things." The communication device beeped. Captain Li's voice came through clearly. "Minho, Admiral Kim has reviewed your recordings. She wants to speak with you directly." A moment later, Admiral Kim's stern voice filled the air. "Specialist Choi, I have watched your videos 3 times. I admit that the creature's behavior is puzzling. But that does not change the fact that 17 colonies have been destroyed. Thousands of people are dead. How can you ask us to trust the thing responsible for so much death?" Minho looked at Veltharion. The creature's alien eyes were watching him carefully. Everything depended on what happened in the next few minutes. Admiral Minho said slowly. I lost my family too. My parents, my sister, my brother. All killed when New Busan colony was destroyed. If anyone has the right to want revenge, it is me. Then why are you protecting this creature? Admiral Kim asked. Because revenge will not bring them back, Minho replied. Because more killing will not undo the accidents that happened here. And because my sister Nayun would want me to choose hope over hatred. Minho activated his suit's camera so the people on the ship could see him clearly. Admiral, I am standing next to the creature right now. It could kill me easily if it wanted to. But instead, it is showing me pictures of its home. It is telling me stories about other species it has met. It is crying about the people who died because of its mistakes. He turned the camera toward Veltharion. The huge alien creature looked directly into the lens. I am sorry, Veltharion said in its strange translated voice. I am sorry for the pain I have caused. I am sorry for the families that will never be whole again. I wish I could undo what happened, but I cannot. All I can do is try to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. There was silence from the ship for a long time. Finally, Admiral Kim spoke again. What do you propose we do, Specialist Choi? We cannot just ignore what happened here. We learn from it, Minho said. We create new protocols for first contact. We build communication systems that work across species barriers. We make sure that when the next alien visitor comes to our worlds, we are ready to talk instead of shoot. And what about the creature? What about justice for the people who died? Minho looked at Veltharion again. The alien creature was watching him with something that looked like desperate hope. Justice does not always mean punishment, Minho said. Sometimes justice means finding a way to heal. Veltharion wants to help us. Its people have knowledge that could benefit humanity for centuries. Instead of killing it, we could learn from it. Another long silence. Then Lieutenant Park's voice came through the communicator. Admiral, I am reading something strange on the sensors. There are ships approaching. Big ships, not human designs. Veltharion's head lifted suddenly. Its alien features showed what might have been fear. My people, the creature said, they have come to take me home. They will not understand what has happened here. They will see only the destruction and assume the worst. Minho felt his heart racing. If the Wanderer ships arrived before the humans could establish communication, there would be fighting. The accident that had started this whole tragedy would become the first battle in a war between species. Admiral Minho said urgently, You need to let me try to contact the Wanderer ships. Veltharion can help me communicate with them. We can explain what really happened before anyone else gets hurt. Absolutely not, Admiral Kim replied. We are not letting you negotiate with a hostile alien fleet. They are not hostile, Minho said. They are just afraid and confused. Same way we are. If we start shooting at them, they will think we killed Veltharion. The war that follows will destroy both our species. Veltharion stood up slowly. Its massive form towered over Minho, but the human was no longer afraid. He had learned to see past the creature's frightening appearance to the gentle intelligence underneath. I will surrender to my people, Veltharion said sadly. I will. Tell them that the humans are not to blame for what happened. Maybe that will prevent a war. No, Minho said firmly. There has to be a better way. He activated his communicator again. Admiral Kim, I am requesting permission to accompany Veltharion to meet with the Wanderer fleet. As humanity's first interspecies ambassador. As someone who has actually talked with them and understands their culture. You are not trained for diplomatic missions, Admiral Kim protested. Neither was anyone else, Minho replied. No human has ever done this before. But my sister prepared me better than anyone realized. She taught me that communication is possible between any two intelligent species, if both sides are willing to try. Veltharion reached out one of its great claws toward Minho. The human did not hesitate. He took the alien hand in both of his own small ones. I will protect you, Veltharion said. My people will listen to me. When they understand what really happened, they will want to help fix the damage. And I will protect you, Minho replied. I will make sure the humans understand that you never meant to hurt anyone. Together, we can build the peace that my sister dreamed of. The Wanderer ships. We're getting closer. Soon there would be two fleets facing each other in space above Kepler 442b, two species that had never met before, brought together by tragedy and misunderstanding. But between them would be a human and an alien who had chosen to trust each other, who had chosen to believe that understanding was possible even after terrible mistakes. Minho looked up at the alien stars shining through the broken roof of the laboratory. Somewhere among those stars, Nayun's dream of interspecies friendship was about to become real. "Come on, Valtharian," Minho said. "Let us go make history." Together, the human and the alien walked out of the ruins toward a future that neither of their species had ever imagined. A future built not on fear and violence, but on the simple idea that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is reach out your hand to someone who looks nothing like you. Above them, the stars watched and waited to see if two very different species could learn to call each other friends.